When dawn gently breaks and the world has yet to awaken into its usual noise, allow yourself a quiet pause just to feel how incredibly lucky you are to still be here, to open your eyes, to breathe, to think. That simple truth, which we so often overlook, is in fact the most precious gift of all. The ancients once said that every morning is a new miracle, yet we, caught in the relentless rhythm of modern life, often leap out of bed like machines diving straight into our to-do lists, our worries, and our endless desires. Rarely do we stop to ask ourselves, am I truly grateful just to be alive? Gratitude is not merely a pleasant feeling or a polite phrase. It's a quiet strength, one that steadies the mind, frees us from comparison, envy, and the exhausting weight of expectation. When you live with gratitude, you no longer compete with others. You begin to live in harmony with yourself. When you are grateful, you stop clinging to the future or mourning the past. You return fully to the present moment. Someone once said, gratitude is the art of seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. And perhaps that is the key to true happiness. Because happiness isn't about having more, it's about realizing you already have enough. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, don't just rise out of habit. Take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat, smile gently at yourself, and whisper, today, I am grateful because I am alive. In that moment, you are not merely starting a new day, you are beginning a new way of living, one filled with mindfulness, love, and peace. Each morning, the first sound we often hear isn't the rhythm of our own heart. It's the buzz of our phone, the ping of notifications, the noise of a world trying to pull us away from ourselves. Before we even remember who we are, we're already reacting to messages, to news, to demands. Our mind is pulled apart, our awareness scattered, and our soul hasn't yet found its way home. The truth is this: if you don't consciously guide your mind in the morning, the world will do it for you. Messages, social media, work, responsibilities, they all rush in like a storm, sweeping away the stillness your spirit needs to begin the day with peace. Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. When you wake up and let your thoughts run wild, driven by worry, fear, or obligation, you're not truly living. You're merely reacting, surviving on autopilot. But there is something powerful enough to break that cycle: gratitude. Gratitude is the anchor that holds you steady amid life's storms. When you pause to feel grateful, the chaos outside can no longer easily touch you. You return to your center, the calm, still place within that nothing can disturb. We often forget how fragile life really is. One phone call, one test result, one unexpected moment, and everything we thought was certain can be turned upside down. We complain, compare, and chase endlessly, rarely realizing that just to breathe, just to wake up again, is a privilege not everyone gets. When you truly understand that nothing in life is guaranteed, gratitude stops being a simple morning ritual. It becomes your survival instinct, your way of preserving inner peace in an unpredictable world. So, tomorrow morning, before reaching for your phone, stop for a moment, close your eyes, inhale deeply, and exhale slowly 3 times. Feel the air moving through your chest, listen to the beat of your heart, and whisper, I am grateful that today I still have the chance to live, to love, and to begin again. That is not just the first breath of a new day, it is the breath of a soul that is truly alive. Sometimes all you need to do is pause. Breathe in slowly, exhale deeply, and allow yourself to be fully present in this moment. No rush, no pressure, no need to prove anything, just you being here. If your mind starts to wander too far, gently place a hand over your heart. Feel that rhythm, the rhythm of life, of presence, of what's truly happening within you. Then softly say, I am grateful to still be here, not to impress, not to be praised, but simply to live. Socrates once said, an unexamined life is not worth living. But perhaps Reflection is not just about asking deep questions. It's also about feeling each moment with an awakened heart. It's when you truly see the morning light pouring through the window, hear the whisper of your own breath, and sense life quietly flowing through every cell of your being. You don't need a journal filled with reflections or a perfect meditation routine to feel enough. You simply need to be here, now aware, grateful, and alive. All you need is a single moment of clarity, one complete breath, one simple thought. Right now, I am alive, and that is enough. From the seed of that simple truth, you begin to learn how to be peaceful yet powerful, to start your day not from the pressure to do more, but from the deep awareness that you are walking with purpose. You no longer need chaos to feel alive, because true life is found in stillness, not in speed. There's a vast difference between waking up feeling forced to run and waking up with a heart full of meaning, knowing where you're going and why. The morning of a rushed person is a checklist of tasks, but the morning of an awakened soul is a quiet ritual of the spirit. A person who seeks peace is not weak. They have simply realized that true strength doesn't come from accelerating, but from the ability to pause and be fully present. In the same moment, under the same circumstances, one person may feel lost in chaos, while another finds clarity and calm. The difference isn't in the world outside, it's in the intention you carry when you begin your day. When you wake with gratitude, you no longer need to search for peace because you've already started your day from that very place of peace. Like a musical instrument that must be tuned, the human soul also needs to be tuned to the right frequency of appreciation. When you align with that frequency, the small things, honking cars, traffic jams, delays, interruptions, lose their power to shake your balance. You no longer react from a place of lack, frustration, or fear. You respond from fullness, from strength and understanding. That's how you turn every day into a practice of stillness. Aristotle once said, "Happiness depends upon ourselves, not in a selfish or arrogant way, but because true peace can never come from the outside, it's created within. And you are the one who gets to choose it from the very first moment you open your eyes." Notice how powerful those first few minutes after waking can be. It's the moment when your mind is still pure, untouched by the world, unburdened by responsibility, yet most people overlook it. They reach for their phone, check messages, scroll through social media, and let the world shape their emotions before they even take their first deep breath. When you start your day like that, you live to someone else's rhythm. You let the noise of the world program your mind instead of listening to your own inner voice. But if you simply pause for a moment, place your hand on your heart, and whisper, "Thank you for letting me still be here today," everything changes. Gratitude is the frequency that brings you back to your center. It helps you see life not through the lens of scarcity, but through the eyes of abundance. And when you begin your day with that mindset, nothing that comes your way can disturb the peace within you. Peace isn't something you have to chase, it's something you choose to live with, from the very first light that touches your face in the morning. The way you speak to yourself each morning is more powerful than you realize. It's like planting the very first seed in your mind, and from that seed, your entire day will either bloom or wither, depending on the words you choose to tell yourself. Each morning as you awaken, the world outside is still quiet, and so is your mind. That's the rare moment when your awareness is open, receptive, and most easily influenced. In those few seconds, you are reprogramming your entire inner world for the day ahead. If you begin with thoughts of kindness, gratitude, and compassion for yourself, you're laying the foundation for a clear and powerful day. But if the first thing you do is dive into worry, responsibility, social media, or noise, you're unconsciously handing control of your mind over to chaos. And if that has happened before, if you've ever woken up feeling tired, confused, or lost, know that you are not alone. We've all been there, but the beautiful truth is, you always have a choice. The choice to begin again, the choice to wake up, the choice to speak to yourself in ways that nurture rather than wound. This is the spirit of Stoicism. Not some dusty ancient philosophy hidden in old books, but a practical way of living, a tool for the modern soul to find clarity, strength, and peace in the middle of a restless world. Stoics believe that the way you start your morning is the way you train your soul. If you don't build your own foundation, the world will gladly build it for you, and let's be honest, the world always has its own plans. Social media wants to pull you into the cycle of comparison. Work wants to claim your mind before you even have breakfast. Pressure, news, other people's expectations, they're all waiting to occupy the space within you. But if you choose to pause, to breathe, to listen to yourself, then even in the middle of all this chaos, you can begin your day in peace. A simple whisper to yourself like, "Thank you for letting me live today. I am enough. I am at peace," can completely shift the energy you carry throughout the day. Never underestimate your mornings because they're not just the start of a new day, they're a chance to rewrite your life, one sunrise at a time. If you wake up already tired, if your mind is still holding on to yesterday's worries, or is already afraid of what might come tomorrow, maybe it's time to pause for a moment. Pause to take back ownership of your morning. Pause to stop letting the past and the future invade your present. Because only when you are truly here, in this very moment, can you begin your day with a calm and clear heart. I want to share with you 5 simple affirmations, gentle reminders that have the power to change how you step into each day. They take less than a minute to say, but if you practice them consistently, you'll start to feel your mind heal, your energy renew, and your heart reconnect with real peace. These affirmations aren't magic spells. They're reminders, invitations to return to yourself. They help you step out of the cycle of exhaustion and rediscover wholeness in every breath. It's a quiet transformation, one that begins within you, in the way you speak to your own soul each morning. If these words make you pause, even for a few seconds, if something inside you feels aligned with them, then maybe we're walking the same path. A path of learning to slow down, to be grateful, and to grow with awareness. And if you want to walk that path together, see your act of subscribing, following, or supporting not just as a small gesture, but as a commitment to your own growth, a belief that real peace can be cultivated day by day, moment by moment. So now, before you do anything else, say softly to yourself, "I am grateful that I am still here." Strange, isn't it? We spend so much of our lives chasing success, love, money, recognition, or simply the feeling of being enough. Yet we rarely pause long enough to appreciate what's already here. This breath, this body, this chance to live one more day. When you learn to pause and give thanks, everything begins to change. You stop running from life and start truly living it. This isn't just another motivational quote you scroll past online. I'm talking about a quiet miracle, a simple truth that modern life often forgets. That moment when you open your eyes after a night's sleep, take your first morning breath, and realize you've been given an entirely new day, a blank page no one has written on yet, a chance to begin again. You don't have to earn it. No one promised you tomorrow, and yet, here you are, still breathing, still with a heart that beats. That alone is grace. That alone is strength. That alone is a gift beyond measure. True power doesn't come from what you conquer or how much you achieve. It comes from how deeply you can appreciate simply being alive. Power begins the moment you become aware of the life flowing within you, when you realize that simply being alive is already the most extraordinary thing of all. Before you rush into the rhythm of a new day, before you check your phone, read your messages, make your to-do list, or take that first sip of coffee, pause for just a few seconds. Take a deep breath in, exhale slowly, and say to yourself, "I'm grateful that I'm still here today." Not because life is perfect, but because it's real, vibrant, and still unfolding. As long as you wake up in the morning, you still have another chance to love, to learn, to forgive, to make things right, to speak your truth, and to live more honestly with yourself. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most respected Stoic philosophers, once said, "You, And don't have to wait for everything to be perfect before you allow yourself to feel at peace. Because peace doesn't come from controlling your circumstances, it comes from being grateful within them. When you practice gratitude, you reclaim authority over your own mind. You send a powerful message to your brain. I don't need to have everything figured out. I don't need perfection. I just need to be present, and that's enough. And within that simplicity, you rediscover your true strength, a strength not born from speed or success, but from awareness, appreciation, and the ability to live fully in every breath. I don't need validation or evidence from the outside world to feel peace within my own soul. That feeling doesn't need to be proven. It's something you feel from the inside. And when you reach that state, that's when you've truly matured emotionally. It's the ability to stand steady in the middle of the storm, to remain calm when the world around you is in chaos. It's knowing that your strength doesn't come from controlling everything, but from knowing how to control yourself. That's the sign of true inner stability, the turning point of a person whom life can no longer easily shake. And if you ever wonder where that strength comes from, the answer is simple: gratitude. Scientists and psychologists have shown that daily gratitude practice can literally rewire your brain, helping you develop more lasting positive emotions. Studies from renowned universities like Harvard and Berkeley have proven that people who practice gratitude regularly feel happier, more optimistic, sleep better, experience less stress, and even have stronger immune systems. Not because their lives are easier, but because they choose to see differently. Where others see hardship, they see lessons. Where others complain, they pause and reflect. Where others rush toward outcomes, they slow down too. Appreciate the small, quiet moments. And it all begins with one simple, silent moment each morning when you choose to press the reset button for your mind. When you whisper to yourself, I'm grateful to still be here. I'm grateful for one more chance to live fully today. Plato once said, a grateful mind is a great mind, and it attracts great things to itself. Perhaps that's not just philosophy, but a profound truth about life. What you focus on expands. And when you focus on gratitude, you expand the very source of positive energy within your life. So each morning, before the world demands anything from you, take a few seconds to give thanks for life, for your body, and for yourself, the one who's still trying, still learning, and still finding ways to live a little better each day. This isn't something mystical or vague. It's simply a natural law of cause and effect, a subtle truth, yet one with incredible power. When you focus in the right direction, your life begins to move differently. When your mind is anchored in what truly matters, your choices become clearer, your actions more intentional, and your results gradually begin to transform. When you live with gratitude, you don't just attract people who are like you open yourself to a new frequency, a space where those who share your energy, your faith, and your rhythm naturally find their way to you. There's no need to prove yourself. No need to chase anything. Things begin to come to you because you are aligned with them. And when you cultivate inner steadiness, when your mind is grounded, you stop being swept away by the emotional waves of others. Judgments no longer throw you off balance. Temptations, comparisons, or fears no longer control you the way they once did. At that point, you're not just present in the ordinary sense, you radiate a completely different kind of energy. The world begins to reflect you in a new way because the energy you carry is the most powerful invitation there is. So before your morning gets crowded with responsibilities, messages, tasks, or random thoughts, pause for a few seconds, take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat, and say to yourself, honestly, I'm grateful to be here. You don't have to try to feel anything. Just let those words touch you. Let them flow gently with your breath, soothing your tension and expanding the quiet space within you. That phrase might sound simple, but within it lies the power to recalibrate your entire being. It reminds you that you still have control over the most important thing: how you respond, how you choose, and how you show up. Because gratitude isn't weakness or passivity. On the contrary, it's the quietest form of strength. It's how you reclaim your sense of agency before the world rushes in to set its own pace for you. And from that very moment, you stop merely existing and begin truly living. The more you practice this each day, the more you'll realize a simple but profound truth. This moment right here, right now, is the foundation of everything else. Not the goals you're chasing, not the endless to-do lists, not even the morning coffee you believe will wake you up. It all begins here with your breath, your awareness, and your presence in this life. Try saying it with me now, softly, but sincerely. I'm grateful to be here. And don't just say it once and forget it. Make it a small but powerful ritual every morning before you check your phone, before you hear the noise of traffic outside, before the thoughts begin to compete for your attention. Just stop, take a deep breath, and remind yourself, I'm still here. That is your real reset button, not a grand plan or a new goal, but the simple act of returning to yourself, because every transformation begins right here in the rung, a moment you choose to be fully present in your own life. Second, remind yourself, yesterday no longer has power over me. Have you ever met someone who wakes up already exhausted? Not because they didn't get enough sleep, but because they never truly let go of yesterday. Their body may have rested, but their mind is still running, replaying old memories, words they wish they hadn't said, moments they wish they'd handled differently. They keep looping every detail like a broken record until all the energy meant for today is drained by what's already gone. And maybe you've been there too, carrying small regrets, unfinished memories, stories you haven't yet forgiven, not just others, but yourself. But here's the truth. No one can begin a new chapter if they keep rereading the old one. Today is a brand new opportunity, a blank page waiting for you to write on. You can't change the past, but you can stop carrying it on your shoulders every time you wake up. Say it to yourself with conviction. Yesterday no longer owns me. And if you say it often enough, your mind will begin to believe it, and your heart will finally be free. Most people don't realize it, but consciously or not, they bring their past into every new day. It's like trying to run a race while wearing a backpack stuffed with yesterday's weight. The emotions not released, the thoughts left unresolved, the moments that should have faded but still cling to the mind. And you know what happens when you carry too much? You might start fast, but sooner or later, you stumble not because you can't move forward, but because the load is too heavy. We do this more often than we think. We carry the awkwardness of yesterday's conversation, a small mistake at work, a wave of disappointment in ourselves. Sometimes, the heaviness isn't even ours. It's someone else's energy, their judgment, their expectations, that we unknowingly take on. Today was meant to be a fresh start, but we step into it with a weary heart, dragging the shadow of yesterday straight into the morning light. And as a result, we fail to see the beauty of now because our eyes are still fixed on then. But here's what most people forget. You are under no obligation to relive yesterday. No one is forcing you to replay the same memories, the same mistakes, the same emotions. Your job isn't to hold on, it's to learn and then let go. That's the real test of life, not perfection, not never making mistakes, but the ability to release. Because only when you put down what's behind you can you make space for what's ahead. Only when you stop fighting the past can you truly live in the present. So start right here, right now. Pause, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, today, I choose to let go. I choose to begin again. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need the courage to leave behind what no longer serves you. Because that is true strength, the strength of someone who knows when to hold on and when to finally let go. Every morning, before the world begins spinning with noise, deadlines, and endless to-dos, take a quiet moment to tell yourself, yesterday no longer has power over me. Say it with conviction, with a deep breath, and the honesty of your heart, because your peace truly depends on it. That single sentence won't erase your memories, It won't make your mistakes or your pain disappear, but it will help you separate yourself from them. It's like drawing a clear line between who you were and who you choose to become. And that line, that sacred boundary, is where freedom begins. It's the place where your soul resets, the true beginning of something new. The great psychologist Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That quote is gold, because while the past may explain your pain, it should never define your future. Each day, you face a choice. Will you keep carrying the weight of guilt and failure, or will you rise with the courage and wisdom that your wounds have taught you? Most people get stuck right here. They don't realize they're living in an invisible replay of old days, moments they wish they could rewrite. They keep revisiting them in their minds, as if life were an unfinished homework assignment. But the truth is simple. None of us can move forward while holding on to pages that have already been read. At some point, you have to close that book not because you've forgotten, but because you've learned, and then you begin to write again with a voice that's stronger, more awake, more intentional. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this well. They believed that life isn't shaped by what happens to us, but by how we respond to it. As Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Let that be your compass. Yesterday might have been messy. Maybe you said something you regret, lost your temper, or missed a valuable chance. But that doesn't make you less worthy. It doesn't mark the end of your story. It's just one chapter, not the whole book. And today, as you open your eyes, you get to choose to write again with a stronger heart, a clearer mind, and the belief that you are not the result of your past. You are the author of your present. All right, but now what? Will you keep sitting in the room of old memories? Or will you stand up, dust yourself off, and walk forward steadier, wiser, and braver than ever before? Imagine your life as a vast journal where each day is a blank page. If you keep rewriting yesterday's sentences, copying the same old stories, there will be no space left for something new to emerge. The only way to write a new chapter is to stop repeating the old ones. Letting go isn't weakness, it's a sign of deep intelligence. It's emotional discipline. It's the conscious choice to say, "I won't spend another second fighting battles that have already ended. I won't try to repair what was never meant to stay." That's not avoidance, that's awareness. It's the strength to stop wounding yourself with old pain, to stop touching what once hurt you. The truth is, most people don't lack the strength to start over. They lack the courage to let go. They keep returning to healed scars just to check if they still hurt, and in doing so, they make them bleed again. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." But that doesn't mean you must dig through the past until your heart runs dry. Examination isn't reliving, it's learning and releasing. It's the ability to look back, understand, and then smile as you say, "Thank you for the lesson, but I don't need to carry you anymore." Because true maturity isn't measured by how much pain you remember, it's measured by how well you transform that pain into light. And when you finally stop touching your old wounds, you'll see that they were never there to break you, they were there to teach you. And the moment you let go, you lose nothing. You're simply giving the past back to the past, creating space for the present to bloom. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, nor does it mean pretending things never happened. It simply means looking directly at your past, understanding it, learning what you need to learn, and then gently setting it down. Observe, understand, release. That's how you free yourself. Ask yourself this: what has holding on ever truly given you? Has it brought peace to your heart, or only made your mind heavier, more tired? Have you noticed that it's not the pain itself that exhausts you, but your refusal to release it? In truth, every emotion you've refused to let go of is like a small stone placed in the backpack on your shoulders. Each day you add a little more, a bit of regret, a bit of shame, a drop of guilt, a few unsaid words, and then one day you find yourself weary not because life is cruel, but because you've been carrying too many things that were meant to be set down long ago. So try this. Before you get out of bed each morning, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine your backpack, the one that holds all your worries, your old memories being unstrapped and set aside. Feel it slide off your shoulders and drop to the ground. Let your body relax. In that moment, you're teaching your nervous system something powerful. Everything is okay now. I am safe. I can begin again. That's not just imagination, it's a healing ritual. A ritual that reminds you that today is a new beginning, that you don't have to carry what has already passed. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Habit, therefore, is what builds character." So what would happen if you made letting go a habit, a life skill, a natural reflex of the soul? Not a one-time act, but an emotional muscle you strengthen each day. Because the more you practice letting go, the more you learn to separate yourself from old wounds. You start to see clearly. You are not what hurt you. You are the one who survived it. And in that realization, you find true freedom not in forgetting the past, but in refusing to let it define your present. Remember, you are not someone who always makes mistakes, nor someone who will always be behind others. You are simply learning to rise faster, to forgive sooner, and to choose peace instead of reaction. That's not a gift, it's a skill. And every time you practice it, you're becoming stronger, even if you don't realize it yet. This isn't just about life's major heartbreaks or turning points sometimes. It's the smallest cuts that wear your spirit down the most. A cold text message, a careless word that keeps echoing in your mind, a glance, a comment, a gesture that made you uncomfortable. All those tiny things accumulate, clinging to you like dust on a mirror until you can no longer see your own reflection clearly. And you wonder, why do I feel so heavy today? Not realizing it's because you're still carrying fragments of yesterday's emotions. That's why the practice of daily release and renewal is essential. Don't wait until everything collapses. Don't wait until you're completely drained. Do it every morning when the world is still quiet, when your mind is still clear. Think of it as cleaning your inner space the same way you tidy your room, wash your clothes, or rinse your face, except this time you're cleansing your soul. There's an old saying often attributed to Plato. The beginning is the most important part of the work. That remains true, perhaps even more so today. If you start your morning weighed down by the past, every action, every word, every decision you make will be tinted by it as though you're looking at the world through a dusty window. But if you begin your day with presence and release, you'll find clarity, lightness, and peace. You won't drag yesterday's noise, fears, or tension into today. You'll begin in stillness, and it's in that stillness where inner strength is born. So tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before you read your messages, before the world pulls you into its current, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and whisper to yourself, "Today, I choose to begin again. I choose peace." That is your first act of transformation, the small but powerful move that allows you to reclaim authorship of your life. Don't let each day pass as if you're reliving the worst memory of your life. Don't turn a brand new morning into the next chapter of an old story that should have been closed long ago. Doing so doesn't just rob you of joy, it's a quiet betrayal of your own growth. Yesterday had its chance with all its mistakes, its pain, and its moments you wish you could redo. But today is a blank page, entirely yours. A new chapter waiting to be written, with awareness, with choice, and with the courage to live fully. You owe yourself your full presence, not half of it, not a distracted or weary version of you still haunted by the past. You wake up not just to exist, not to react, but to create a meaningful day. Place your hand over your heart and say this with me. Yesterday does not own me. That statement isn't denial, it's direction. It's a declaration of healing. It doesn't erase the past, but it draws a clear boundary between what has been and what you're choosing now. When you say yesterday does not own me, you remind yourself that you are no longer imprisoned by old mistakes, regrets, or the actions of others. You remind yourself that your future isn't built from broken pieces, it's built from conscious choices made in this very moment. So today, choose presence over regret. Choose peace over overthinking what cannot be changed. Choose lightness over carrying what no longer belongs to you. And once you've made that choice, live like you believe it. Walk, work, speak, and even breathe in a way that reflects the truth that you are in charge of this day, not the leftover chaos of yesterday. Because true power doesn't come from controlling the world around you, but from mastering the world within you. That brings us to the next lesson. I am the master of my mind. No one else decides how I feel. Once you understand that, no person, no situation, no memory can take away the peace you've chosen for yourself. It's easy to feel like life today is spinning out of control, like everything's happening faster than you can keep up. One peaceful morning, you start with a warm cup of coffee, believing the day will be calm. But within minutes, your phone buzzes, notifications pile up, the news floods in, emails remain unanswered, messages await, and suddenly, your mind is swept away in a whirlwind. Before you can take a deep breath, you're drowning in hundreds of thoughts. It feels like there are dozens of open windows in your head, each one a worry, a fear, an unfinished plan, a what if question, all demanding your attention at once. And before you even realize it, you're no longer living, you're just reacting. Your mind is racing while your heart is exhausted. You try to manage everything, fix everything, control every outcome, but end up trapped in the invisible storm of your own thoughts. You're not thinking anymore, you're being dragged by your thoughts, tired, scattered, and unsure where to stop. Interestingly, humans have known this truth for thousands of years. The ancient Stoic philosophers spoke about it long ago. They understood that the real danger doesn't come from the outside world, it comes from the chaos that brews inside us. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And that is the essence of personal power. Not controlling others, not reshaping circumstances, but mastering your response, the one thing you truly have control over. Every time you stay calm amid chaos, every time you choose silence instead of arguing, every time you stay present instead of letting your mind wander, you are reclaiming your inner strength. And that's why mornings are so important. Before the world wakes up, before the noise begins, the universe grants you a rare moment of stillness, a quiet pause just long enough for you to breathe, to listen to yourself, and to realign your mind before life sweeps you away. Seize that moment. It's not just the time you begin a new day, it's the moment you reset the entire energy of your life. Because in the stillness of the morning, you don't just find peace, you find yourself. That first quiet moment of the day, even if it lasts only a few seconds, has the power to shape the rhythm of everything that follows. It's in that pause that you get to choose how your mind will operate: peace or chaos, clarity or reaction. And this is the anchor for your spirit. Say to yourself clearly and powerfully, I am the master of my mind. Say it before you touch your phone, before you scroll through social media, before your to-do list floods your head. Say it with conviction, from deep within your chest, as if you're sending a command to the entire universe. Because when you affirm this truth in the morning, you're building an invisible shield, a spiritual armor that allows you to move through the day without being dragged down by the noise around you. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." That quote isn't just poetic, it's a guide for living consciously in the chaos of our modern world. Most of us spend our days chasing the outside world, lost in the noise, comparisons, judgments, and measurements of others. We become so busy that we forget where real power lives, not out there, but within. Just 1 minute of turning inward can help you touch the deepest stillness inside yourself. When you learn to look inward, you begin to truly wake up. You start to see that not every emotion is the truth, and not every thought deserves your belief. The mind can be loud, but you don't have to join its noise. You can stand in the middle of the storm of your thoughts and still hold a calm, quiet space at your center. Try this in the morning. No complicated rituals, no meditation music, no candles. Just sit still for 1 minute. Place your hand over your chest and feel your breath move in and out. Inhale deeply and exhale even slower. When thoughts come, and they will, don't fight them and don't cling to them. Watch them drift by like clouds across the sky. They come and they go. You simply observe, no judgment, no need to fix anything. Just be here with yourself in this very moment, because it's in that small, sacred space, the gap between stimulus and response, that your true power resides. It's the place where you can choose not to let the world control you, but to decide how you will respond to the world. And once you realize this, you'll understand. I am not my thoughts. I am the one who witnesses them. That is the first step toward inner freedom and the beginning of true awakening. Plato once said that the greatest victory in life is not conquering the world, but conquering yourself. It's not about winning at work, not about managing your schedule or replying to every email, but about winning the silent conversation between you and your own mind. That battle doesn't happen out there. It happens inside your thoughts, your reactions, and your everyday emotions. Every time you notice yourself getting lost in endless thinking, anxiety, or anger, remember this. You always have a choice. You can let your mind carry you away like a boat tossed around in a storm, or you can take the wheel and become the captain of your own journey. Ask yourself, am I the driver of my life, or just a passenger watching it pass me by? And don't get it twisted, mastering your mind doesn't mean you have to abandon the world, hide on a mountaintop, or cut yourself off from people. It's the art of staying calm in the middle of the crowd, staying grounded amidst noise and endless demands pulling at your attention every second. It's the power to choose your mood instead of letting your emotions choose you. It's pausing before reacting, choosing silence instead of anger, choosing understanding instead of judgment. You don't have to reply to every message right away. You don't have to carry every fear or insecurity. And you absolutely don't have to let small, meaningless things disturb the peace in your mind. Because peace isn't passivity, it's a conscious decision. A decision you make again and again until it becomes second nature. When you start saying to yourself, "Today I choose peace," a time will come when you won't even have to choose. Peace will simply become a part of who you are. Like breathing, like the beating of your heart. Socrates once shared a profound truth. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And that new begins inside your mind. It starts with one simple declaration. This is the direction I choose to go. This is the energy I choose to carry. This is the mindset I choose to nurture. Mindset isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you build day by day, choice by choice, reaction by reaction. Modern neuroscience has proven that the human brain can physically rewire itself. Every thought, every belief, every habit creates new neural pathways, and you are the architect of those pathways. So when you practice mental mastery, you're not just changing how you feel, you're literally rebuilding your brain. Bit by bit, morning by morning, moment by moment, each time you choose peace over chaos. The human brain is extraordinary. It's like a living machine that can regenerate itself, constantly reshaping based on what you think, feel, and repeat each day. Science calls this neuroplasticity. That means every thought, every reaction you have is like a workout for your brain. If every morning you wake up and immediately dive into negative headlines, scroll through social media comparing yourself, complain about everything, or worry about what you can't control, your brain gets better and better at producing stress. It learns to react faster, worry deeper, and feed the very cycle of negativity you're unconsciously training it to repeat. But if you choose a different start, just a few quiet minutes to breathe, feel, and turn inward, you're teaching your brain a new language. The language of peace. Over time, it becomes better at staying calm, clear, and steady amid the chaos of the world. You don't have to change your entire life in one day. It all begins with one small but consistent choice each morning. Choose presence over reaction. Choose calm over chaos. Choose observation over judgment. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." And that's more true than ever when it comes to your mind. You can't become mentally strong overnight, but you can train your mind just like training a muscle. Each morning when you affirm, "I am in control of my mind," you're lifting a mental weight. At first it feels heavy, but over time you'll find yourself steadier, calmer, clearer. And when emotional waves rise, doubt, anger, distraction, fear, pause, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, just because a thought appears doesn't mean it deserves my belief. A thought can be loud, but that doesn't mean it's true. You don't have to believe everything your mind whispers. You can simply watch it. Let it pass like clouds drifting across the sky while you, the observer, remain calm, steady. There's a voice inside you, quiet, unassuming, yet when trained, it can rise above all the noise of the world. It wasn't made to blend into the chaos around you, but to guide you back home to yourself. But that doesn't happen by accident. You have to choose it every day, in every small moment. There will be times when you lose your calm, mornings when your mind drifts into worry, anger, or exhaustion, moments when you forget the promises you made to yourself. And that's okay. No one is born mastering their mind. So don't punish yourself. Don't judge. Just come back. The Stoics never taught perfection, they taught awareness. True strength, they said, lies in recognizing when you've drifted off course and gently steering yourself back faster, softer each time. That's what real evolution of the soul looks like. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you read messages, before you let the world flood your mind, pause, sit down, close your eyes, give yourself a few minutes to breathe in peace and exhale the noise. Let that space belong only to you. And then, in that stillness, whisper or say it silently from your heart, "I am in control of my mind." That is your affirmation, your compass, your lifeline when life tries to pull you away. Because the world out there will never be silent. It will always be loud, demanding, pulling you in every direction. But you can choose. You can choose to be the driver, not the passenger. And when your inner voice grows stronger than the noise around you, that's when you truly reclaim your power. Every single day. Lesson 4. Kindness is my true power. There are some people who walk into a room and, without saying a word, the atmosphere softens. They don't try to impress or prove anything. Their mere presence makes others feel safe, calm, and seen. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone whose quiet kindness makes your heart feel at ease simply because they are genuine, grounded, and good? What makes them special isn't status, achievement, or charm. It's kindness, that invisible energy no title can bestow. Real kindness doesn't come from the need for praise. It comes from deep self-awareness and inner strength. It's not weakness. In fact, it's one of the purest forms of power. Truly kind people don't avoid confrontation because they're afraid. They simply choose peace over anger. They can speak hard truths while still honoring respect. They can stand firm in the storm without losing compassion. That's a quiet kind of courage the modern world often forgets. True kindness isn't a single act. It's a habit, a discipline, a conscious choice repeated daily. It's holding back a harsh word you could easily say. It's choosing understanding over judgment. It's facing the rough edges of life while keeping your heart soft. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Kindness is invincible if it's genuine, free from hypocrisy and flattery." Think about it. If you treat others with kindness, even when they don't return it, what could possibly hurt you? No one can take away your peace unless you hand it to them. So starting today, remind yourself, kindness is my superpower. Not as a cute quote for the wall, but as a daily commitment in your words, in your actions, in your presence. Because when you live with genuine kindness, you don't just change the world around you, you change the frequency of your own heart. And that's where true power begins. Lesson 5. Real strength lies in stillness. There's a fine line between softness and weakness, between silence and indifference. We live in a world that often equates strength with toughness, respect with volume, and influence with dominance. But in truth, real strength doesn't roar. It stays calm in the chaos. A strong person isn't someone who imposes their will on others, it's someone who can master themselves. They can face provocation without reacting impulsively. They can listen to criticism without being crushed. They can respond to anger with calm, not because they're weak, but because they understand that composure is the highest form of inner power. Kindness, in its purest form, is an expression of self-control. Because to be truly kind, you have to overcome the instinct to fight back, to prove yourself right, to win. You must be humble enough to pause before judging, and brave enough to keep your heart open even when the world closes off. Carl Jung once said, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people." That truth stops people in their tracks because it's deeply human. We all carry shadows inside us. Pain, fear of rejection, unhealed memories. And when we see those same shadows reflected in others in their anger, their coldness, their harshness, we often forget that they too are fighting unseen battles. Kindness is the bridge that spans those cracks. It's not forced positivity, nor a fake smile to hide the pain. True kindness is the ability to see the human in every person, even when they don't act lovable. It's choosing understanding over blame, healing over harm. So start each morning with that mindset. When you step into the world and choose compassion first, everything changes. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become different. And you realize you don't need to shout to be heard, because when your inner world is steady, your presence itself becomes the loudest voice in the room. Friday, slow down to understand more deeply. When you learn to respond more slowly, it doesn't mean you've become cold or indifferent. It simply means you've begun to value inner peace more than the temporary satisfaction of being right. You choose silence not because you have nothing to say, but because you know not every battle is worth sacrificing your peace for. You begin to move through life with patience. Not because you don't care, but because you understand that real change, whether in yourself or in others, takes time. No one heals overnight. No one transforms in an instant. You understand that growth requires gentleness, respect, and sometimes simply a quiet moment to breathe. Socrates once said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about." He didn't say this to romanticize life. He said it because it's true. Each of us carries wounds unseen by others, fears, memories, and pains we've never spoken of. And sometimes those unhealed places cause people to act in ways that are hard to understand, even hurtful. When you begin to see the world through that lens, you stop taking every word or action personally. A harsh comment, a cold glance, a moment of indifference, they may have nothing to do with you. They are reflections of someone else's inner story, their private struggle you cannot see. Kindness does not mean excusing bad behavior. It doesn't mean tolerating everything or letting people cross your boundaries. True kindness is the ability to respond with awareness rather than ego. It's the strength to choose calm over anger, understanding over reaction, and compassion over cruelty. And it all begins with the smallest acts. Imagine one kind gesture today could completely change someone's mood. Maybe it's a sincere compliment to a friend who's feeling low. Maybe it's a gentle smile to a stranger in a rush, or simply listening to someone without judgment. You don't need to do anything grand. Just one small act, done with genuine care, can create a ripple effect, because the world is already loud enough. A calm presence, a compassionate heart, that's what truly sets you apart. And when you choose kindness, you're not only healing others, you're healing yourself. Saturday, kindness is never wasted. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do in a day isn't a big gesture, it's simply pausing long enough to truly listen. Not listening to reply, but listening to understand. Listening so someone else feels seen, heard, and valued. Maybe you send a short message, just a few words. "Hey, I was thinking of you today, not because you want anything, but because you want them to know they're not alone. Those small things often carry the greatest weight. A few kind words, a smile, or a warm glance might be the only reason someone finds hope again that day. And the beautiful thing is, every time you give kindness, it doesn't just lighten someone else's heart, it also heals your own. Because kindness never moves in only one direction. It circles back, nourishing your spirit and shaping you into a better version of yourself. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, shapes the person you are becoming. It strengthens your awareness that you're living with intention, not just reacting out of impulse or ego. Plato once said, "Excellence is not an act, but a habit." And kindness is the same. It doesn't require perfection or perfect timing. It only asks that you choose what's right even when no one's watching. Do that often enough, and kindness becomes second nature, as effortless as breathing, as steady as your heartbeat. And then something magical happens. Your presence changes. You no longer walk into a room seeking validation or love. You walk in to give it. You become the kind of energy that makes others feel safe, calm, and inspired. That is a quiet kind of power, no noise, no display, no need for attention. And of course, not everyone will understand it. Some will mistake your patience for weakness. Some will confuse your calm for indifference. But you'll know your kindness isn't a performance. It's a reflection of your values, your integrity, your truth. True strength isn't measured by how many people you can control. It's measured by how deeply you can stay kind when life isn't kind to you. In the end, when all else fades, when fame and intellect are long gone, it's your quiet, consistent kindness that will leave the most lasting mark. Sunday. Kindness is the strength of silent warriors. Those who live by Stoic principles were never weak or passive, as many assume. They were warriors, not on the battlefield outside, but within the fierce war of the mind. They've known pain, betrayal, and loss. They've endured life's storms. But what makes them extraordinary isn't that they never fell. It's how they rose again. It's the compass that keeps them steady amid chaos. A meaningful life isn't measured by fame or victories, but by how kind you remain when the world is unkind to you. Once you truly understand that, you realize you don't need to please anyone. You don't need external validation to feel worthy. You just need to live aligned with your truth, guided by your heart, quietly, genuinely, without needing to be seen. Because real strength doesn't shout to be heard, it glows in silence, and that glow speaks louder than words. So tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before the world floods your mind with noise and pressure, pause, take a deep breath, return to yourself, and whisper, "Kindness is my strength." Not because you want others to like you, but because it's how you choose to live. Because you understand that real power doesn't come from controlling others, it comes from mastering your own peace. Then step out into the world as a warrior of kindness. Not the soft kind that avoids truth, but the grounded, conscious, powerful kind. The kind that changes the energy of a room, that awakens light in others, that heals what's been forgotten. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more people, brave enough to be kind, even when no one's watching. And every time you choose understanding over judgment, calm over chaos, and compassion over resentment, you make this world a little softer, starting from within. In the end, remember this: the present moment is all we ever truly have. So live it with a strong mind, a gentle heart, and a fearless spirit that always chooses what is good. This moment, are you truly living in it? Have you ever looked up from your phone and thought, "Wait, how is it already the weekend?" That strange feeling that time is slipping through your fingers, not because life is too beautiful, but because you've been swept up in its endless rhythm, forgetting to actually live. One morning, you're slowly sipping your coffee, savoring the warmth and the sunlight, and just a few minutes later, you're buried under notifications, emails, meetings, and an ever-growing to-do list. The day rushes by like a gust of wind, no pause, no warning, and sometimes no trace at all. That's the pace of modern life, fast, loud, relentless, and rarely leaving space for stillness. And somewhere in that constant flow, there's a truth as sharp as a blade, cutting through all the noise we try to ignore. Everything is temporary. It sounds sad, but it's not a warning, it's an awakening. Stress is temporary, pressure is temporary, joy, sorrow, success, failure, they all pass. And that's exactly what makes them precious. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. They lived by a simple but profound reminder. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. Not to be morbid, but to be mindful. Because only when we accept that nothing lasts forever can we truly appreciate this very moment, the one unfolding right in front of us. When you realize that tomorrow is never guaranteed, gratitude naturally fills your today. When you understand that every breath is a gift, you stop, wasting time racing, competing, or trying to prove your worth to the world. The philosopher Plato once said, "Time is the moving image of eternity." That line hits differently when you pause to reflect. How much real time do we actually spend living, feeling, and being present instead of just existing in the chaos of work and expectation? Every minute that passes is a fragment of eternity held in your hands. And if you don't live fully within it, you lose the most irreplaceable part of your life, the part no one else can live for you. So next time you feel yourself getting swept away, stop. Feel your presence in this very moment. Because in the end, this right here, right now, is all you ever truly have. Most of us aren't really living in the present. We're here, but our minds are somewhere else. Half the time, we're stuck in memories, replaying the what-ifs of the past. The other half, we're trapped in the worries of the future, things that haven't even happened yet, but already make us anxious and restless. We keep running, but we never arrive. Because the present, the only place where life actually happens, is the place we abandon. Presence isn't something that comes naturally. It's a skill, a discipline, a quiet kind of strength. Just like you train your body or learn to master your emotions, learning to stay here and now also takes daily practice. The great psychologist Carl Jung once said, "The ability to be in the present moment is a major component of mental wellness." And when you think about it, it's true. Most anxiety comes from living too far ahead in a future that doesn't yet exist. Most sadness comes from looking too far back into a past that can't be changed. Only the present, where your feet stand, where your breath flows, is real. And it's the only place where your true power exists. But it's so easy to lose it. We get too busy, too distracted, too consumed by the invisible noise of our lives. We forget to feel the sunlight slipping through the morning window. We forget the gentle aroma of a fresh cup of coffee. We forget the crisp air before the rain falls. Those little things, they are life. They're where real joy hides. So let this be a gentle reminder. Pause, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, not just with words but with your heart, this moment is all I have, and I will treasure it. Not tomorrow, not when life finally feels perfect, but now in this very moment where you truly exist. Have you ever sat quietly, sipping a cup of coffee, and realized this is life actually happening? Not when you hit a big goal, not when everything finally falls into place, but right here, in this simple, quiet moment. When the air is still, when the first light slips through the window, and the world hasn't rushed awake yet, life doesn't wait for a perfect tomorrow to begin. It's breathing, moving, unfolding right now. And if you're not truly present for it, you're not just losing time, you're losing your life itself. Maybe it's the calm before your kids wake up. Maybe it's that unhurried conversation with a friend where no one reaches for their phone. Maybe it's the unconscious smile that appears as morning sunlight warms your face. Those little things, the ones that seem insignificant, are the soul of a meaningful life. Aristotle once spoke about eudaimonia, a state of true fulfillment, where a person lives a good and worthy life. He didn't tie it to wealth, status, or fame. To him, A good life begins in how we act in each moment in our integrity, awareness, and mindfulness. A person who lives with purpose isn't someone who has everything, but someone who values every moment they already have. Enjoying the present doesn't mean ignoring responsibility or giving up. It's the art of living fully amid imperfection, finding peace even when things feel messy. Because being truly present isn't easy. It's much simpler to stay busy to bury ourselves in work, scroll endlessly, or obsess over the next step instead of this moment. Because when we sit still, we're forced to face ourselves, and that's often the hardest thing to do. The Stoic philosophers called this state ataraxia, a tranquility of the mind, an inner stillness untouched by the outside world. And to reach that peace, you don't need rituals or retreats, you just need to slow down. Slow down to hear the wind whisper through the trees. Slow down to feel the warmth of a cup of tea in your hands. Slow down to smile at yourself, no matter how chaotic the day has been. Slowness isn't weakness, it's the strength of someone who has mastered their own pace. Because the world will always be loud, work will always be demanding, and responsibilities will never end. But if you can pause, even for a few breaths, to truly be here, you've already found what the rest of the world is endlessly chasing: peace. The world outside won't stop spinning. Notifications, messages, meetings, expectations, they all demand your attention, your reaction, your energy. And if you're not careful, you'll get swept up in that storm and forget the most important thing of all: yourself. When you learn to pause and be truly present, you stop letting the world control your emotions, your thoughts, your energy. You're no longer a victim of urgency. You become someone who consciously chooses what truly matters. You begin to live more slowly, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to choose clarity over chaos. The philosopher Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." That simple line holds one of life's deepest truths. Happiness isn't found in grand achievements. It isn't loud or dazzling. It often hides in stillness, in the sound of the wind, in the rhythm of your breath, or in the way sunlight falls through your window. And you know what? To enjoy doesn't mean to escape or ignore. It's the art of awareness, the ability to open your heart fully, even to the smallest details. When you take a deep breath, when you feel your feet grounded on the earth, when you notice the birds, the scent of coffee, or the warmth brushing your hands, you're not just existing, you're living. Right now, you don't need to be anyone else. You don't need to be a better version of yesterday or prepare to become someone tomorrow. You just need to be you, no pretending, no striving, no performance. Presence isn't a skill, it's the natural state of the soul when it's allowed to be still. And when you return to this moment, simply being here, breathing, feeling, you'll realize something profound. Everything you've been searching for outside has always been within you. Socrates, the great master of questioning, once said something simple yet piercing: "If a man does not bring himself along in his travels, he gains nothing by going anywhere." Those words echo like a call to wake up, because we often believe happiness exists somewhere else, in a better job, a bigger house, a brighter future. But the truth is, if your mind isn't present in the now, no destination will ever bring you peace. Not fame, not success, not escapes to faraway places. All of it becomes empty if you lose the ability to stay with yourself. That's why presence isn't optional, it's the foundation of a meaningful life. If you're searching for peace, joy, or deeper connection, don't try to do more or achieve more. Start by noticing more. Notice the sounds around you. Notice your breath moving in and out. Notice the light filtering through the morning curtain. Because fulfillment doesn't come from speed, it comes from attention. We often overlook the little things, only to later whisper, "I wish I had slowed down." So next time you have even a few seconds of quiet pause, take a slow breath. Hold it a little longer. Feel it a little deeper. Because every moment slips away silently, and once it's gone, you'll never get it back. Tell yourself, everything is temporary, so I will live this moment fully. When you live with that mindset, time seems to slow down. Each day feels not just longer, but richer, deeper, more alive. You start to see that no moment is ordinary because this very moment is life itself. So as you move through today, through the busyness, the pressure, or the sudden bursts of joy, carry this truth with you. Peace doesn't live in tomorrow. It lives in this moment, right now. Take a slow breath in, exhale softly, and let your mind rest in the stillness of this present moment. Thank you for watching and listening. If this message touched your heart, please give it a like, share it, and subscribe so we can continue this journey together, learning how to build a life guided by stillness, clarity, and the quiet strength within.